welcome back to my channel. Today what I'm going to be talking about is how to have a competitive GPA while still having a social life. So tip number one is time management. I know everybody stresses about time management, but this is going to be your best friend. And here's how I do it. My motto is you have as many hours in the day as Beyonce. Plain and simple. You literally have the same amount of hours as Beyonce. Therefore, when looking at your schedule, you really need to understand how much time you actually have to study, factoring your work life, your school life, and your social life. So how I do that is I use Google Calendar. You can use your Outlook if you have Outlook, or your school's calendar, which is, I think typically it's either Outlook or Google Calendar anyway, and it's free. So what I do is, instead of using a written planner, I plan everything on my Google Calendar virtually. So I can create different calendars. That means I can create a work schedule, a school class schedule, a study schedule, assignments that are due, and exams. So I have created about 5 or 7 different sub calendars within my main Google Calendar, and you can color code them, and you can set reminders for yourself. You can do 2 days in advance. That's what I usually do for when I have an assignment or an exam. You can do 20 minutes or 30-minute notifications, and you can get them via email or just a push notification. I usually just do push notifications on my phone or my Apple Watch. That just really helps me understand, oh, I need to finish this, or I need to do this today with the time that I've allotted for that subject. So that really helps me visualize not only how much empty space is on my calendar, and I will fill that in as a section to study. Everyone has their phone, and you can use apps like Quizlet to study flashcards. Some are already pre-done for you. If you Google your class, and you can see if that teacher has the same study guide throughout the years, and you can find other people that have already created flashcards. So when you're on the go, if you're just waiting in line or anything like that, you can always use that time to study. I know it's easier said than done, but that's what I do. I usually look at the screen time that I have on my iPhone, and I really reevaluated how much time I was actually spending online, and it was very shocking. Typically I was on my phone for about 7 hours. It averaged out to be 7 hours. And when I look at that, I just sort of see myself using my time better. And so that using that feature really helped me allot my time better for studying versus going on social media. Now, tip number 2 is to create a study schedule. So how do you do this? This is going to help you really be accountable for your study time, and also really help you get that A and that 4.0 GPA that you want. Now, I was more of a 3.5 student, which isn't bad at all, but for nursing school you really want to have that competitive GPA along with your other classmates. So what I did was I did these tips, and I hope that they help you as well. So when you're creating a study schedule, people usually say that it takes 3 hours per unit. So if you're taking a 4-unit class, then you should allot yourself 12 hours for that one class a week to study. I typically did a little bit more, probably like around 16 to 18 hours per class, just so that I am able to really understand the material and really study to learn, not to memorize. Especially in your anatomy and physio classes, that's really gonna help you if you study to learn, because everything you learn is connected. Everything happens in sort of a sequence mode, and understanding that everything is connected. So if you come with this approach of study to learn versus to memorize, this is going to help you in the future, and you're going to go so much further. So I fill in those empty gaps on my calendar with a study schedule, and I will allot different times for a different class, but my study schedule on my Google Calendar is blue. So that's the time that I'm studying. If I haven't finished my work, or if I haven't finished anything else, I will definitely leave that, and I will continue with my study schedule. I usually keep a pretty tight ship when it comes to my calendar. That really helps me understand where I need to be, what I need to be doing, hour by hour. That really helps me. Over the years, as I've learned about sustainability and being eco-friendly, I really enjoy using the virtual calendar because this allows me to see everything all at once. So, for example, if my friends also want to hang out a certain day, I can easily look on my calendar and say, okay, do I have this open? If not, then where else on my calendar can I fit in to have lunch or dinner with my friends? So that's why I say time management is key, and creating a study schedule for yourself so that you can really understand how much time you really do have, which is you have enough time if you want to put in the effort. And so that's how I sort of manage my time and being allowed to have a social life. So when it comes to your social life, yes, I understand people say when you're doing your prereqs, like, this is what you should be focused on, but you need to have that self-care and that time to yourself. So if that means waking up a little bit earlier, like at 6 a.m. and just doing everything in the morning, that way you have your afternoons and evenings free, I highly suggest that you do that. With time management, it's allowed me to have a work, school, and social life balance. I know people say it cannot be done, but yes, if you put in the time, if you really visualize your time and see how much you actually have to work with, it'll be a lot easier to fit in. So you can visualize all of that just via Google Calendar. And if you have a study buddy or study group, you can definitely share that study calendar, or that you can create one for just your group or just you and your study buddy, so that you guys can see and add and understand like when you guys are going to be studying. And that really also helps us because you can add and share the actual sub calendar with other people, which is really nice. If you guys plan a study session, then you can see, okay, I can't do it this time, but I have this time open, and see if that works out, because usually you can all be on the same page of when it comes to studying. Now, tip number 3 is to set goals. So what I mean by this is that you really need to envision that intended outcome that you want. Now, I've read a lot of self-help books and listened to a lot of lifestyle podcasts, and the main thing that I've always took from all of those, and the same common theme that they have, is always to write your goals down. I know it sounds silly, but really if you really write it down, then you can visualize it and you can see that outcome happening. So I always, at the start of the semester, I will create a goal list for that semester. So I'll really ask myself, what is the intended outcome for this semester? What do I hope to achieve, and what will I achieve in this semester? So I usually will write down my goals as in, I will get A's, I will have a 4.0. If you start using the words I will, I have, those will also put your mindset as in you've already achieved this. So I really like that, to have a really sort of goals for the semester. And this comes down to like how I meal prep, like make sure I meal prep every week. This was obviously before COVID. I would pack my lunch and I would honestly stay at school as long as I could, so I can get the most out of my time there, which if there was study hall, I would be in there studying for a class. I usually like to set my time and use it as much as possible, because time is money in the end. And I really make sure that I use my time wisely. And so creating those goals helped me essentially get to where I am today. And I know it sounds a little bit silly to just obviously being so detailed about what you hope to achieve that semester, but it really helped me because I could see the goals list every day. And I started doing this last year, and I never did this before, but I noticed at the end of every semester that I was checking off all my goals. So I met all my goals that I had intended to do that semester, and so I just kept doing it. And I usually will write goals in 3 months range, because that's usually how much a semester is, or however long a semester is. So I will just add in certain things, like I will read a book at least once a month. I will listen to certain podcasts and things like that, just so that I'm constantly also including my social life into these goals and not just your school. I hope that these tips helped you as they helped me. That's really what kept me on track to have a competitive GPA and to really stick to it and hold myself accountable for my study schedule. Is my main thing is your study schedule. And to just really study to learn and not to memorize. I know I may have mentioned this in another video, but it really did help me to get a competitive GPA and really work for that A. And so I really hope that this helped you. And if you have any questions, please comment below, like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next week, have a good one. Bye.